Hi, I'm Sarah Wilder, and this is part 19 of Surviving the Man I Married. In part 18, you heard about our trip to Montana to get a new puppy and about Jim's new ugly boots. In this episode, you'll hear an incredible reading with Aspen, a budding psychic medium and shaman. So, this is a long episode, and forgive me for reading kind of fast. It had only been 4 days since Jim and I returned from Montana, each of us with something new to show for our travels. I met with Aspen at her apartment in South Jordan, Utah, which included a huge old rescue dog who had lain on my lap for this whole visit. I'm a dog lady for sure. While I waited for Aspen to collect a few more decks of cards, tarot and oracle cards, I sat atop a colorful blanket on the floor of her upstairs room and I was listening to late summer rain lightly pelt the window next to me. And I could see harder stuff was coming from the west and big dark clouds that literally were churning over the nearby Ochre Mountains. It was a perfect fitting mood, I thought. So Aspen got right into it from the get go, and she did not let up. She revealed my top two chakras are very strong, the ones representing the crown and the third eye, which are responsible for intuitive abilities. And right away, my mom came through and said that she visits me frequently, sometimes as a butterfly. She saw me carrying a heavy burden, unable to set it down. She encouraged me to keep trying therapy and not to give up, but also recognize that I'm capable of being my own therapist. Mom said that she misses hugging me and acknowledged some unresolved issues between us. That's huge. That's huge. My dad stepped in then, and he expressed remorse and guilt at not being able to be the kind of father that I needed because his ego was a huge obstacle. That's also huge. How amazing are my parents? He noted that he remains involved in his older grandkids' lives, especially my eldest, Wendy. She was going through a hard time at this time, too. He wanted me to go on a hiking meditation whereby I mindfully carry around a heavy rock, contemplating its weight, and then I need to feel all my feelings, acknowledge them, and then attach all of those painful things to the rock as I set it down and leave it behind. He added that I can invite other entities to join me on this walk to help me. Aspen then intuited some things about my physical health, primarily centered around my gut area. She saw sexual assault and abuse appearing within me in the form of a yellowish hue to my gut, and noted how I was also experiencing terrible grief over the loss of my young dog who I dearly loved. I think a lot of you can relate to this part of the reading, to this circumstance in yourselves. She recommended I see a shaman to be cleansed, and in the meantime, I can send my body lots of love and positive vibrations. Aspen then brought up my broken foot, which was still in the boot. She offered that because my feet are the foundation of my physical structure and the injury was very bad, I also need to consider the reason for the fall and look at the metaphysical meaning of it. She explained that it happened as a means to slow me down, to get me to pause everything and take better care of myself inside and out. She said that as my foot heals, so will I, spiritually and emotionally. Then, when my foot is healed, it will likewise symbolize my readiness to enter the next phase of my life. And I'm to embrace this change, she said. Aspen expanded on what else will be happening during the healing process, what she referred to as a transitional space when multiple transformations will take place simultaneously. I'll begin to remember my past lives and revert to who I was supposed to be, my original authentic self. And this is something my mom and my higher self have said multiple times in previous readings about becoming my authentic self. This transition will occur slowly, she said, over time. She explained that some of my past lives were as a Native American shaman, a Druid shaman, and a Chinese homeopath. She stated that I have always been a healer, and again in this life, I'm intended to be one. On the do it yourself restoration of my true self side of things, Aspen mentioned mushroom medicine as being helpful in opening my mind. She instructed that when I undertake this practice, I need to be out in nature and relaxed and the sole participant, but to also have a sober chaperone was a good idea because I'd never done mushrooms before. The mushroom will help me to recall my past lives and I'll rediscover what I love to do. I'll be able to look into my body and hear what it's telling me about my emotions. And then I need to sketch them using my heart as a guide. For the greatest effect, I should do this ritual on a full moon. Meditation was also brought up as a way to help me adjust to the transitions that I'm going to be experiencing. She said to let the inclination to do this come to me naturally, but once I do begin the practice of meditation, I should try to be disciplined and do it regularly. Another facet of this major overhaul is the use of my natural psychic abilities. Aspen said that I'm able to receive divine guidance on my own, just as those who I pay to do it on my behalf have done. To accomplish this, I need to quiet my mind before opening myself up to receive from Spirit. She recommended giving myself 5 or so minutes to let my mind race and wander, and then to quiet down. At that point is when I should begin meditating. It's the plane on which I'll be sent messages from Spirit. She added that I also have very strong energetic abilities and that I contain very potent energy. So I should use visualization as a technique to remove bad energy away from myself, casting it off and sending it away, the pain right along with it. Shifting gears, Aspen then moved on to the yucky feeling in my townhome. She said that it has lots of negative activity in it. It is full of restless souls who live there. Oh my God, it's so weird. I need to sage the whole townhouse to clear out the low vibration entities, she said. Continuing, she told me that I have been able to see and hear quite a lot of negative energy in my home in the form of sounds, footsteps, smells, and temperature changes. And the dogs are also seeing things, she said. Furthermore, she saw that I was surrounded by a thick black smog that was from other people's bad energy. She revealed that this happens because I'm an extreme empath and I'm instructed to take salt baths to release the negative energy from me, visualizing the negative energy leaving my body, flowing into the bath water, and then down the drain. In this visualization, I need to see my heart, wring it out, and shake it off. At this point in the reading, I paused things to speak with Aspen for a bit about what happened in Dillon, Montana, just days earlier, because I wanted her help with making sense of that upsetting experience when I went into the boot store. I guess I was also seeking her validation of the experience, that I had read it correctly. And this was something I didn't usually do during a reading because I'm there mainly to receive information, not to give it. And yes, Aspen confirmed everything. And she added that Jim had arranged that boot store hookup in advance. That explains why that phone was in his hand and they were inseparable the entire thing, the entire time. So during a reading with Peter the previous year in 2020, he described a future moment when I would witness something Jim did that would awaken me, bring about my departure from the relationship. And this seemed like that, a terrible but defining moment. It felt like my heart and brain had both been struck by lightning. And in those humiliating moments in the boot store, a million pieces of information flooded my brain. But once that had passed, all I had was rage. I spent the half day drive home unable to look at or even be civil to Jim, and I served him only the left side of my silent, small, scarf wrapped head. So, boots and broads aside, Aspen continued our reading. She said that my throat chakra is closed regarding Jim, that I've been unable to speak my truth to him. I'm advised to open my throat chakra and keep it open. Take inventory of my relationship and take the next step. Oh, where have I heard that before? She saw that Jim and I have no sexual contact and described his energy as being very off, very heavy, and icky. She offered that if I stay, this relationship will need to be entirely rebuilt from the ground up, but warned that Jim and I are completely divergent, spiritually and physically. There, I interjected that I had reached a point where I can sense when he's going online with women because I can feel a very dark, heavy energy about him when he reemerges, and it literally makes me feel sick. Aspen reiterated that the foot injury was a metaphor for my departure from old patterns, for the need to step away psychologically and emotionally from those destructive things and to take a new path. She also mentioned meditation again, but in the context of opening my throat chakra. She described seeing a clearing, a forest meadow, where 4 men stepped forward from the shadows into it. She described them as people who have hurt me in the past. I'm instructed that during this meditation, I must face these men one by one and tell each of them what I was unable to say at the time they inflicted trauma upon me. She urged me to say and do what I needed to so I could purge my pain, thereby opening my throat chakra. And mentally, I was tallying every asshole who'd done damage and the number 4 checks. Aspen pulled tarot cards for me that tell her I'm a gypsy soul and a wild child. And my parents in previous readings recall me being a wild child and how much they loved that, but that they didn't know how to handle it. She saw that I have rot inside of me caused by trauma, which has made me prone to attracting bad energy, that I will experience a kind of death, leaving my old self behind. But ultimately, I'll be reborn, renewed, as if from a pure flower of healing. I will be able to heal myself, and I will teach others how to heal themselves. I'm going to be great, fine, fully renewed. And that's where our reading concluded. These past 2 episodes have been really lengthy, and I appreciate your patience. So, in the next part, in episode 20, I'll cover the second half of 2021. If you want to know more, please remember to like, follow, and share to take my story one step closer to publication. And ladies, I invite you to step out of the darkness and into your power.